Adding shapes to a worksheet in Numbers is a really great way to customize your worksheets to have students work on creative assignments. One way that I like to use shapes is to allow students to create a mind map or to brainstorm a project. In order to do that, tap on the plus sign in the top right. You'll see that there are 4 different options of content that you can add to your worksheet. The first are tables, the second are your graphs or charts, the third are shapes, including text boxes, and the fourth are different types of media. So here you see photo or video, camera, which is a great function in the iWork applications such as Pages, Keynote, or Numbers when you're working on iOS, which means you're working on a mobile device like an iPad or a phone. And you can take a selfie or take a picture right within the application itself. So when I tap on camera, my camera will come up. That function is not available if you're working in Numbers, Keynote, or Pages on a computer. So you'll have to take the photo first and then add it in from your photo library. You can also record audio, insert an image gallery or a web video, and add drawing. So here is where you would access your drawing tools if you're not working with an Apple Pencil. In Numbers, Keynote, or Pages, if you tap on the screen with an Apple Pencil like I'm about to do, your drawing functions will automatically come up. If you or your students are not working with an Apple Pencil, you can absolutely still include drawing functions by toggling here to the media option and selecting drawing. Okay, back to shapes. So here I will tap back to our shapes functions, and I think for our purposes, I tend to like to use these rounded squares for our mind mapping. I'm not particularly partial to that color, so to format the color, I'll tap on the paintbrush on the top right, and maybe I'll change the main bubble to green. I think I'd like these to have a border, so I will go ahead and add that, and we'll see what it looks like with a shadow. I think a little more shadow looks pretty nice. If I tap on title and caption, and I can toggle title on the top or on the bottom, you can see here that each of these shapes could have a title or they could have a caption. But I think I'll prefer to type right within the box itself, so I'll leave those off. If I double tap on this shape, I will automatically be able to type within the box or the shape that I've created. So I will call this, or I will name this, how do I make the best paper airplane? I think I'll save myself some time and I will just duplicate this shape by tapping on it, pressing copy, tapping off of the shape, and then pressing paste. So here I have another duplicate shape with all of the same formatting. So it has the shadow, it has the border, and it's also green. But I think I might change this next bubble to pink, just so I can show that I'm thinking about a different idea here. I'll select all of the text, and in this bubble, I think I might consider what different models are there. And this might include some research. So this might be me looking up some different paper airplane models online. I'll press copy and paste, and maybe this bubble will be purple. And here I'll start to think about what materials will I need. And again, this isn't necessarily mind mapping because these are all independent questions that fall under the umbrella of how do I make the best paper airplane. So you can absolutely customize and design and model the mind map for your students however you'd like for them to complete the assignment. Another way that I like to use shapes here is to create storyboard templates. So I'll show you that in just a second also. And maybe I'll make just one more for the sake of showing you the way that this could possibly look, and maybe I'll call this one, how many trials should I do for each test run? If you're working with upper school or even middle school students, this might be a nice time to talk about the difference between variables, environmental constants, etc. And so students can start to think about what are the factors that will change with each trial, what might stay the same, and they can always branch off of those ideas as well. So for this box, I'll make it orange. And now I need them all connected. So I'd like to show that the orange, pink, and purple boxes are all kind of subcategories under the main concept of how do I make the best paper airplane. So in order to do that, I'll press the plus sign, and I'm going to use this curved line here. So what's nice in Numbers is that all of these shapes, and actually this functionality exists in Pages and Keynote, all of these shapes will snap to grid. So what I mean by that is you can see here as I move this curved line around, there are yellow grid lines that show up on the screen to tell me when I'm perfectly aligned with another shape on the page. So here I would like my one end of my line to snap to my pink square and then to my green square. And I can always change the curvature by pulling on this little green circle. I'll also connect the green square to my purple square. I don't think I want that to be a straight line. I want some dynamic illustration here. And then I will there we go. So now it kind of shows that, the concept of trials and models and materials all fit under this main question of how do I make the best paper airplane? When your students need to move these boxes around, what's nice is that if you tap on just one and you move it, the curved line that connects it to the other box will move with it as well. So that's kind of nice. Another way to use shapes is to create storyboard squares for your students. So again, I really like these rounded edge squares. They're a little bit more appealing to me visually than these square corners. So for this, I will format it by changing the fill to maybe a light gray. And I think I still do want a border and possibly a shadow. I kind of like the way the shadows make everything look dimensional. And then here I might add a text box. So within shapes, I can add a text box. And I might add instructions that say, draw the first page of your story or the first scene of your story above. And I can always format the text by tapping on the paintbrush. So here you see if my text is all selected, I have options to change the size of the font and the color. You can also lock these boxes. So if I want my students to draw in the gray square, but I don't want them to move these things around, I can tap on my objects, tap on Format, which is the paintbrush, tap on Arrange, which has to do with the object's location and the way that it looks, and I'll tap on Lock. So now the students cannot move these boxes around, but if they were to tap on the screen and enter drawing, they can still absolutely draw over the locked objects.